Here are the top 12 older woman-younger man relationship movies. Number 12, All That Heaven Allows, 1955. Let's start classic. This film is proof that older woman-younger man stories have been around forever, and they've always made society uncomfortable. Here, you've got Carrie, a widow living in a tidy, respectable suburban world where people smile at you but also watch you. And then she meets Ron, a younger man who lives closer to nature, more free, more direct, less worried about what the neighbors whisper at the grocery store. And that's the heart of this movie. It's not just the age gap, it's the judgment. The way the world punishes a woman for wanting love again, especially if it doesn't match the approved script. This story is quiet, elegant, and emotionally sharp. It asks a brutal question. Are you living your life or performing it for people who don't even truly know you? Number 11, I Could Never Be Your Woman, 2007. This one is lighter, funnier, and surprisingly relatable, especially if you've ever felt like the world has a countdown timer over your head. You've got Rosie, a successful TV producer who's juggling motherhood, work stress, and the constant pressure society puts on women to remain young enough to be considered desirable. Then comes Adam, a younger man who doesn't treat her age like a flaw he has to forgive. He just likes her. He enjoys her company. He wants her clearly, confidently, and it throws her entire self-image into chaos. What makes this movie work is that it doesn't pretend the insecurity isn't real. Rosie isn't just fighting the relationship, she's fighting the programming in her head that says, this can't last, or he'll leave, or I'm not allowed to be the one admired. It's charming, romantic, and honestly, kind of comforting. Number 10, Bull Durham, 1988. Okay, this one is iconic, and it's not the typical wide-eyed young man meets mysterious older woman cliché. Here, the older woman is the one with the rules. Annie is confident, intelligent, and fully in control of her life. She's not begging for romance. She's not hunting for validation. She's living on her terms. Then she meets younger baseball players, guys who are talented, cocky, hungry, and what she offers them isn't just love. It's experience, discipline, perspective. She challenges them mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. And what's interesting is how the film flips expectations. Annie isn't treated like a desperate woman clinging to youth. She's treated like someone who knows exactly what she wants and refuses to apologize for it. It's playful, witty, and loaded with dialogue that feels sharp and alive. If you want an older woman to younger man story with confidence instead of insecurity, this one's a great pick. Number 9, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, 1998. This movie is basically a vacation that changes a life. Stella is successful, responsible, and tired in a way that no nap can fix. She's been holding everything together: work, family, expectations, and somewhere along the way, she stopped feeling like a person and started feeling like a machine. Then she goes on a trip and meets Winston, a younger man who brings something back to her that she didn't even realize she lost: joy, lightness, play. But what makes this story memorable is that it doesn't pretend love is just fireworks and slow-motion kisses. It makes you feel the real questions underneath. Can two people be in different stages of life and still build something stable? Is this a temporary escape or a real connection? And why does the world act like a woman expires at a certain age? It's romantic, yes, but it's also about permission. Permission to live again. Number 8, The Graduate, 1967. This is one of the most famous age gap stories ever made, and it's complicated for a reason. A young man, Benjamin, comes home after graduating, totally lost, floating through life like he's wearing someone else's skin. And then he gets pulled into a relationship with an older woman, Mrs. Robinson, who is confident, restless, and deeply unhappy. What makes this film powerful is that the relationship isn't framed as cute or simple. It's awkward, it's transactional, it's emotional avoidance disguised as intimacy. Benjamin isn't ready for adulthood. Mrs. Robinson is exhausted by adulthood, and they meet in the middle, not out of destiny, but out of loneliness and confusion. This isn't a feel-good romance. It's a mirror. It shows how people use relationships to escape themselves, and how messy it gets when the escape stops working. Number 7, Harold and Maude, 1971. Now this one is unusual, and that's exactly why people either adore it or don't know what to do with it. Harold is a young man obsessed with death, disconnected from life, and trapped in a strange emotional fog. Then he meets Maude, an older woman who treats life like a gift you should open loudly. Maude is fearless, she's playful, She's the type of person who can turn the most ordinary moment into a celebration, and Harold slowly starts waking up. This film isn't just about age, it's about energy. Maud has more life in her than most people half her age. Harold has less, and their relationship becomes this strange, poetic collision, one person teaching the other how to feel alive. It's quirky, sometimes darkly funny, and surprisingly tender. It's not for everyone, but if it hits you, it really hits you. Number 6, Lost in Translation, 2003. This isn't a traditional romance, and that's the point. Here, the connection is quiet. Two people in the same city, both emotionally stranded, both feeling like they don't belong where they are. Charlotte is young, uncertain, searching. Bob is older, tired, and slowly realizing that success doesn't automatically equal happiness. They don't build a relationship through big speeches. They build it through small moments, late-night conversations, shared silence, tiny laughs that feel like oxygen. And that's why this fits the theme. Sometimes the relationship isn't about forever. Sometimes it's about being seen at exactly the right time in your life. This film captures the emotional truth of age gaps. One person might be trying to begin their life, while the other is quietly questioning the one they already built. Soft, melancholy, beautiful. Number 5, The Mother, 2003. All right, this one is raw, uncomfortable, and real in a way that doesn't try to make you feel safe. A woman later in life, lonely and emotionally starved, finds herself pulled into a relationship with a younger man. And the film doesn't sanitize it. It doesn't turn it into a fairy tale. It shows you how complicated it can be when desire, vulnerability, and need collide. What's intense here is how it forces the audience to confront double standards. People judge her harshly. They question her worth. They treat her like she should be ashamed for wanting intimacy. And the film asks, why is it easier for people to accept an older man with a younger woman than the reverse? This is not a light watch, but it's honest. And sometimes honesty is exactly what makes a story unforgettable. Number 4, Prime, 2005. This one is basically the perfect age gap meets real life movie, because it brings the relationship into the real world and makes it deal with consequences. You've got Raffi, newly divorced, trying to rebuild herself. Then she meets David, younger, charming, and genuinely kind. It starts off fresh and exciting until the awkward truth drops. David's mother is Raffi's therapist. And suddenly the story becomes a pressure cooker, because it's not just about love. It's about family, boundaries, judgment, fear. What makes Prime work is that it doesn't pretend love magically solves everything. It shows how age gaps can create real logistical and emotional challenges. Different friend groups, different expectations, different future timelines, and sometimes very different levels of readiness. It's funny, heartfelt, and grounded. A great pick if you want something modern and emotionally realistic. 3. Cherie, 2009. This one is elegant, tragic, and emotionally sharp, like a beautiful glass that you know will break. An older woman and a younger man share a relationship that begins almost like a comfortable arrangement. It's stylish, it's familiar, it's almost too easy. But then the younger man is expected to move on, to do what's proper, to marry and step into the life society chose for him. And suddenly, what felt like a private world gets crushed by public expectation. What's haunting here is that the older woman isn't portrayed as foolish. She's portrayed as human. She knows what the world is like. She knows how the story usually ends, and yet she still feels. This film captures a specific pain. The moment you realize you weren't just enjoying something, you were building your heart around it. If you like bittersweet stories with emotional depth, Cherie delivers. Number 2, Hello, I Must Be Going, 2012. This is a quieter movie, but the emotional punch is strong because it feels so real. Amy is in her 30s, freshly divorced, moved back in with her parents, and carrying the kind of disappointment that doesn't show on your face until you're alone in your room at night. Then she meets a younger man, someone who sees her without the label of failure. He doesn't treat her like someone who's fallen off the timeline. He treats her like a person worth wanting. What's powerful is how this relationship becomes less about the age gap and more about identity. Amy is trying to remember who she is when she isn't someone's wife, someone's success story, someone's adult who has it together. This movie is tender, awkward, and full of small moments that feel painfully honest. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic, it's just human. Number 1, Adore, 2013. And at number 1, we've got a film that's emotional, complicated, and built around choices that ripple outward. This story follows two women and their relationships with younger men. Connections that start in a place of comfort and familiarity, then evolve into something deeper and more disruptive. This one isn't about glamour. It's about the messy collision between love, loyalty, and the lines people assume should never be crossed. And the reason it lands at number 1 for part 2 is simple. It refuses to be simple. It explores how relationships can form not because people are trying to be rebellious, but because feelings happen in spaces where people feel safe, understood, and wanted. It's a film that will divide audiences. Some will sympathize, some will judge, and some will sit there afterward thinking, that was complicated. And that's why it felt real. And that brings us to the end of Part 2. Top 12 older woman, younger man relationship movies. New picks, new flavors, and a wide range of tones, from light and charming to deep and complicated. Now, I want to hear from you. Which one of these hits the hardest? Which one surprised you? And what movie should absolutely be on Part 3?